thinking about our setup. So feet together, and then you're going to create a pizza slice. So take your heels out, toes come out to meet them, and then you're just going to take a little rock backwards and forwards. So you're just thinking about that weight going from your heel to your toe and back again. And then you're going to bring yourself to a standstill where that weight is evenly balanced between your heel and your toe. Coming up to your knee, so you want to keep a soft knee, and what I mean by that is not that you're pushing your kneecaps backwards or you're bending your knee, it's kind of in the middle of those two, so you're not locking out through that knee joint. Then we're going to come up to your pelvis, thinking about it like a bucket. We're going to tip the water out of the back and out of the front, so you're just isolating the movement through your pelvis, and then bringing that to a standstill where that tailbone is pointing down to the floor, restacking those vertebrae, growing towards the ceiling. Next, thinking about our pelvic floor, so it's an internal sling of muscles holding everything in, and for today we're going to think about it a little bit like a lift. So you're going to imagine you're on floor 1 and you're going to ride that lift up to floor 10, so you're feeling that internal squeeze, holding it there, and then you're going to slowly, with control, let it back down until you get to that floor 2 or 3, and that's our 20 to 30% we're going to hold for the rest of the session. If you want a really good app for doing pelvic floor exercises, Squeezy by the NHS, by the way, is perfect. Then coming on to our TVA, so transverse abdominis, big belt-like muscle, one of our kind of really postural core muscles. So we're going to build that up to the 10th hole. So we're going to pull that belt into the 10th hole. And then we're going to slowly, with control, let it back off. And then we're going to do it one more time. So we're going to come up to the 10th hole. So when you do that, you should feel your waist getting smaller and your belly button moving towards your spine. And that's the cue I'm going to use to remind you about engaging your core. So we're now going to slowly let that back out until you get to that notch 2 or 3. And that again is our 20 to 30% we're going to hold for the rest of the session. And it shouldn't be such a tight contraction, like you feel like you can't breathe. You should be able to breathe and hold it there and do all of your general day-to-day activities. So it's kind of a more lighter contraction. Not going to spend a lot of time on breathing today because we have only got 40 minutes. But when you breathe, I want you to think about breathing thoracically. So thinking about opening up through your rib cage, not breathing with your belly. Because obviously it's quite hard to hold those core muscles and breathe from your belly at the same time. So core engaged, you're going to inhale, bring your arms up and over, feel that rib cage expand, and then exhale, feel your rib cage slowly come back down. So inhale up one more time, and then exhale, push all the air out, core engaged, bring those arms back down. Super. From here, we're going to do 3 little shoulder rolls backwards. So just starting to mobilize through some of those major muscle groups, and then 3 shoulder rolls forwards. Then from here, you're going to interlace your fingers, bring your hands above your head. Core engaged. Imagine the rest of your body is stuck in concrete and you're just going to create a circle above your head. So we're just mobilizing through your shoulders. And I want you to imagine you're creating a halo above your head. So you're just polishing that halo above your head. So nothing else moves, just your shoulders. Then taking it in the other direction. And then we're going to start to make that movement bigger. So you're now going to bring your back and core muscles into the equation. So everything from your hips down is still staying still, but your upper body is creating this really nice circle. Then taking it in the other direction, belly button to spine, keeping that core engaged. And then coming back to the middle and stretching those arms up and away. From here, we're going to go on to opening up through your chest a bit as well. So you're going to bring both arms up in front. Core engaged, you're going to bring your arms out so they're just in front of your shoulders. Then from here, one arm at a time, you're going to take your right arm back just behind your shoulder, bring it back to the starting position. Then your left arm back to the starting position. So you're just moving individually your arms back behind your shoulder. And what I want you to really focus on, two things actually. The first is that you're dropping your shoulders down. So think shoulder blades sliding down your back, core engaged. And the second thing is that you're not twisting to the side. So think about everything else staying still and you're just moving and mobilizing through that shoulder, opening up through those chest muscles, using the muscles in your back. Final one to each side. And then bringing those arms back to the middle. Core engaged, keeping your hips facing forward. Thinking about rotation through that mid-spine, you're going to bring one elbow back. This time you're turning to the side, but the rotation comes through your mid-spine, so through your thoracic spine, and not through you turning from your hips. So your hips stay facing forward. Imagine they're the headlights of your car and you're keeping them facing down the road. One arm stays facing forward as the other comes back and your chin stays in line with your chest. Keep thinking belly button to spine, core engaged, pelvic floor on. I'm going to do one more to each side like this. And then bringing those arms back down once you've finished that side. Okay, so from here we're going to come on to thinking about our lower half. So we're going to start with one of my favourite exercises, which is a squat. So feet are coming so they're wider than hip distance apart. Core engaged. You're going to keep your chest upright, so try not to bend your body forward. Pelvis stays so that your tailbone points down at the ground. You're going to come down into kind of an imaginary chair. Take it to where you feel comfortable, but make sure your knees are behind your toes and your toes are slightly facing outwards. From here, you're going to lift a heel and lower, lift a heel and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. Then, thinking about the weight through your whole foot, you're going to push yourself back through your whole foot to standing. Thinking about that pelvis tilting so that tailbone stays down at the ground, core engaged, back down into that chair, holding it there, lift, lower, lift, lower. One more time on each side. So this is really good for building strength in your calves. We're also obviously working through those quads and those glutes. Keep thinking belly button to spine, core engaged, keeping your body upright. That's it, you've got it. And then push through your foot back to standing. Belly button to spine, down into that chair, holding at the bottom. Lift and lower, lift and lower. One more time on each side. Keep your upper body upright, push through your whole foot back to standing. Okay, walking those feet in a little bit, we're going to do a scuttle run. So you need a little bit of room to your right hand side for this one, because you're going to move to the right and then you're going to move back to where you've started. Core engaged. You're going to come down into an imaginary chair. And then from here, you're going to bring your feet together and then step to the right. Feet together, step to the right, feet together. Holding it there. And then we're going to go back in the other direction. So we're going to go feet apart, back together, feet apart, back together, feet apart, back together. Holding it there. Belly button to spine, back to the right hand side, so 2 little steps. So you can control how hard you're working here. So the harder you want to work, the lower you go. Core engaged, you can bring your chest forward a little bit more in this one. And we're just doing a little scuttle run. This is our final time to the left. And then we're going to just make our way back to the middle, push yourself back to standing. So hopefully you're feeling nice and warm now. And we're going to move on to another kind of squat, but using one leg. So if you know your balance is a little bit iffy, have hold of something that is solid. So kind of like something that's not going to move, basically. Core engaged, feet are underneath you. Going to come down into a squat-like position, but not so low this time. So trying to keep yourself so that you can keep your balance, because we're then going to take our weight into our left leg. Lift your right leg off the floor. And we're going to draw a star with your right leg. So we're going to tap to 12 o'clock. Then you're going to tap back to the middle. Then you're going to tap to 2 o'clock. Then tap back to the middle. Then you're going to tap to 5 o'clock. Tap back to the middle. Core engaged. Tap to 7 o'clock. Back to the middle. Then you're going to tap across the front. Tap to 10 o'clock. Back to the middle. Well done. I'm going to do it one more time. So 12, middle, 2, middle, 5, middle, 7, middle, 10, middle, final one, 12, middle, and then back to standing. Give those legs a little wiggle. So it's good to work your legs as singles because they do everything together most of the time, running, cycling, swimming, blah, blah, blah. But working them as a single gives you an opportunity to work on any imbalance that you might have there. So now I'm going to do the other side. This is my worst side. So coming down, core engaged, weight into your right leg. Lifting that left foot off the floor, tap to 12, to the middle, tap to 10, to the middle, keeping everything else nice and still, tap to 7, to the middle, looking good, tap to 5, to the middle, tap to 2, to the middle, and tap to 12, to the middle, one more time, 12, middle, 10, middle, 7, middle, core engaged, 5, middle, doing really well, 2, middle, back to 12, final, little tap, back to standing, give those legs a little wiggle as well.